Well, hello and good morning. Welcome to Kelly's Sirocco Life. And I hope that wherever you are staying warm. And if you're in a place that is getting colder than normal temperatures like we are today, that you are staying warm and ready for maybe a new round of snow or winter weather this weekend. So, and it's very interesting that today to do a reading for Imbolc, and because we're at this time where we're in this, and it's kind of a very liminal space between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, because we're in the midst of winter and things, and even harsher than winter weather than usual in a lot of places. And but yet the days, you can tell the days are getting just a little bit longer. There's just a little bit more light outside. Things are just starting to grow again. You can almost feel it. I feel like I can just feel the movement in the soil, things starting to grow again, things starting to wake up again. And so even though things are covered in snow and ice, and things are still, look very, very dead, there's this time of renewal. There's this time of getting ready, to anticipation for this growth that's happening. And it's still a time, very much a time to go inwards, very much a time to still rest and relax, and take time to do the introspective work, and to do the things that you want to do for this time, to get ready for the spring. Because once the things start growing again, and then we go right into summer and fall again, and so it's a time of growth, and to get ready for that. And I get an email from the Farmer's Almanac every day, and there's always these beautiful pictures of the snow, and some a poem about the snow and the winter weather. And then the next three stories in the email are all about planting your garden and how to start seeds. And so even though it's just wintry weather outside, we're looking forward to that, because we know in this cycle that that's what's coming next. We know that this is a time for growth, and planning for that growth, and planning for the things that you want to do in the spring. So we're going to do two things to help us get ready for that, because the season of Imbolc, for the witches' seasons of the year, and just this time of year, this time that would have been we believe would have been a festival for the ancestors, particularly in the Celtic areas, that this would have been a time where that people would have kind of said, okay, the first things are going to start growing pretty soon, and animals that were maybe mated in the fall, they were getting ready to have their children. And we believe that the word Imbolc, Imbolc, means in the belly, that something that that the animals were pregnant, and they were getting ready to have new babies. And this was very important for lots of reasons, for just for milk that people could use, and for to drink, and to make food stuffs from, and also for that circle of life, this cycle beginning again, this time of that we had gone through, where we had gone through the harvest time, and the time of having to put away and having to live on everything that was stored. And now there's this promise of new things that are coming. So it's definitely not, it's not winter, and it's not spring, but it's this very like in between space. So, and that's coming, and we usually celebrate that on February 1st, and sometime around this time. And it so happens that the full moon is going to be on Sunday the 1st as well. So you'll be able to have, it's like kind of a double celebration day of celebrating this full moon and celebrating the season of Imbolc that is going to be, it's going to take us now into spring and take us to the spring equinox. And even then, a lot of times places are still, even though it's the beginning of spring, there's still a lot of cold weather and things to get through. But there's still, again, this promise, this just beautiful time of it. The full moon is going to shine a light on this cycle again, and we're going to have the season that we can prepare ourselves for what's coming. We can plant if you have a garden and you do that, and you have things that you plant outside, you're getting ready for that. And it can be a virtual garden. It can be things that you are planting for yourself, things that you are wanting to do in the spring, things that you want to grow this year, maybe things that you let go of at the end of the year last year, maybe at the time of Samhain in the fall, that you let go of some of these things, and some of the things that really needed just this time of incubation and this time of introspection. You're now going to be ready to grow those things. And so it can be both external and internal. So if there's physical things that you like to do to celebrate this time, then we're going to do a little ritual, and you can do that as well. But we're going to do a reading first to get a message for this new season that is coming for us. So this is a reading for Imbolc, and there's four questions for it. So it's it's very reflective. It's looking at this time because it is this kind of in between time, but it is a time of a little bit of movement, the things that we want to start getting ready for. So we're going to look at those kinds of things. And it probably would have been a time of starting, to clear out things, to starting to clear out in ancient times, starting to clear out the stale air, starting to clear out things that were no longer needed anymore, and looking at those things and making room for the growth that's coming in spring. So question number one, and I'm using today the Magical Hours Tarot, which I have been using all month. This has been my study deck for the month. And so I've really enjoyed working with this deck. And if you want to see my review, it's on the video all about the Magical Hours Tarot is already on my channel, so you can go and find that as well. So today, question number one with the Magical Hours Tarot is, what needs to be swept away from life right now? And so this, I'll have, again, like always, I'll have the questions for you up in various places so you can use these questions for yourself. But right now I'm going to do a card for all of us here in the community. So number one, what needs to be swept away from life right now? And so here we have the Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups can be that card that is usually called the wish card. Is something that you're just kind of happy. You're just kind of happy with things right now. And so it's interesting that this is in the what needs to be swept away. So maybe there's things that came up for us that we didn't wish for, things that happened over the winter or are happening over the winter that's not quite on our wish list. And so it's time to look at those things. And this is a great time to do that, because it's the full moon that's coming up. And the full moon it's there to enlighten. It's there to let you really examine what's there. It's a great time to use your intuition to really step. And it's because it's in Leo, then it's a very courageous sign, very courageous moon. And for you really to look at that and say, you know what? this is not what I wish. This is not what I wish for. This is not how I want the rest of this winter to go. This is not how I want this season to be for me. And I'm going to let this full moon sweep those things away. And then question number 2, what can we do to prepare for the coming time of growth? And so we know that it's coming. We know that even though it's really hard to see it right now and maybe really hard to feel it right now, but we know just looking at the cycles and looking at how time is going on, the days are getting a little bit longer, then we know that there is time that for growth is coming. So here, what can we do to prepare for that? Of Pentacles. And this is the knight that takes their time, that she takes her time moving along. She takes her time going and planning out what's coming ahead. And so this is how we can prepare for the coming time of growth, is not to start rushing and not to start going in with too many things, not to start going in with too many ideas, not to start going in with too much fire, but let yourself have this time of still kind of introspection and relaxation. Look at use this full moon that's coming up, and sweep away what needs to be, that you no longer wish for. And then what is it that you want? And let's prepare for that. So the Knight of Pentacles there is to support us, to really support us as we're moving forward, because the Knight, even though it's the Knight and it's that fire energy, is combined with the Pentacles energy, which is the earth energy. And so it's still cold, frozen earth. And so we want to see, what can we sweep away from that? What can we illuminate? And then take really practical, grounded steps. And this might be a time right now that you need to do something that's very grounding, that you need to maybe do a practice that maybe you've gotten out of the practice of doing meditation or journaling or something, maybe over the holidays or during winter, and it's much harder for you to do something that you've already enjoyed, or something that you want to exercise more, or again, or start something like that. And so think about something that's going to be grounding, but not at the same time overwhelming, because we don't want to set ourselves up for so much that we kind of burn out, and that fire energy just kind of burns out anything that we want to set up to move on with. So that Nine of Pentacles, really supportive energy to prepare us for the coming time of growth. And so question number 3, what can we learn during the remaining winter? So, there's still, 6 more weeks or so of winter. And so we know that we want to still use this time and use it well, and see what do we need to know about, these next several weeks until we're going into the spring equinox. And here we have the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is kind of almost the opposite of the Knight of Pentacles. So we have this Knight of Pentacles that's telling us to kind of slow down, to make things that are make good choices, make good grounding exercises, do practices that are going to ground you and move towards your goal in a good way. And then you can learn from that, what is going to really excite you and what is going to really be passionate for you, because the page is starting over, is starting something new. And the wands is something that you're very passionate about. So using that, kind of sweeping that energy away, the things that we don't wish for, and then grounding ourselves so that we are ready, so that we are ready to embrace these things that we're really passionate about. And the ritual that we do after this is we're going to look at some of those things that maybe we're passionate about, that we want to bring into this time. So again, use that Knight of Pentacles energy, ground, center, take your time. And then the rest of this winter time, then look at the things. What are the things that you know that are going to make you happy, that's going to make your wishes come true? And those are the things that you'll want to start in the springtime. And then lastly, what seeds do we need to sow in this season? And so here we have the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is that card of kind of being a little bit apathetic, being a little bit, I just don't want to face it anymore. I just don't want to deal with it right now. And even though we have things that are there, good things that are supporting us, and we have people around us, offering these things to us, we're still in that, just like, and it may be just because this time of year is very hard. Maybe this time of year is just hard for you for, different reasons. And because, there is a lot of darkness, because there is a lot of coldness, and there are things that are much harder to do in this time where there's not a lot of light, or maybe it's been a time where, you've had to, you've had extra demands since the beginning of the year, something that has been weighing on you that you've had to really pay attention to. And now it's just made you, with everything else, it's just kind of like made you like, oh. So, what are some seeds that we can sow for ourselves to kind of bolster us through this time, to kind of bolster us through this time? And I think that goes back to the Knight of Pentacles. And I think the Knight of Pentacles is very important in this reading, because it is that energy that we really need of, of the full moon, with the brightness, but also, staying grounded and looking, and the cups is looking inside, looking at your intuition and looking at how you feel. So we've got this, this very cups, very intuitive, watery energy on one side, and then we have this fiery, earthy energy on the other side. So, what seeds do we need to sow to really take in all of that energy? And here, balancing these grounding practices with something that is very intuitive. Once you feel good, and once you've just taken some breaths and grounded, take a few minutes just to look outside, or take a few minutes to look at some pictures on your phone, maybe that you took from the summer, or maybe you took from last winter, or something that you did this past year that you very much enjoyed. Look at something like that, and that can kind of give you that intuitive bump of, well, what is it that I really want? I know what I want to let go of, and now what is it that I really want to bring in? And do, an intuitive practice like this reading. Let this reading help you. Do some journaling with these questions. And so anything that, really lets you listen to your intuition. And so that is our reading for Imbolc, and I hope that you have a very happy holiday and full moon this weekend. And in order to, we're going to do a little ritual, not anything really big, just something. And if you want to do, this more, more involved on actual that day, the February 1st, and on and do something for yourself on Sunday, and you can do it, maybe bigger, and do something with the moon. But this is a ritual that we'll do together and that can kind of get you in tune with this holiday, this time, this day, this liminal space between the winter and the spring. And so for this ritual, I'm going to use a candle. And you can do this using candle or incense, and I'll have this a post for you, of course. So I'm going to light a candle. I'm also going to put a little bit of oil that I made last spring from fresh violets in our yard. So I put some of that here. It's just looking forward, because I know that even though everything's covered in snow right now, the violets are going to bloom again, and they're going to be there and beautifully for the spring again. So for this ritual, I'm going to light a candle and just take a breath to clear my space. And then find something, either a picture or an item, something that reminds you of the coming spring, something that reminds you of spring. And you can, like I said, look back on your phone, maybe of something, a picture that you have in spring, or you can find something online that maybe it inspires you for this coming spring. Personally, I picked up this crystal egg that I have, and it's got that really, it's serpentine, and so it's got a really light green color, and it just reminds me of spring. And eggs, are kind of are a symbol of fertility and of spring, and so this reminds me of the spring that is coming. So I picked this crystal egg as something to remind me of the coming spring. And so once you have your picture or your item or whatever you want to have with you, then you're going to write down 3 things that you look forward to with the next season. So looking ahead, we know that as the Imbolc season passes on, that we're nearing the spring equinox. And so think about things during that time that you maybe you want it to do, maybe that you are just looking forward to, things that are going to happen that you're really missing right now, and you are just really thankful that we have this time of gratitude and this season to celebrate what has passed and what is coming. So the 3 things that I am looking forward to are, like I said, the oil that I used for my candle today was made from the violets that grow in our yard. And we have just in the front yard a patch that just blooms in violets in the spring, and they're just gorgeous. And so very much looking forward to that. Again, also to feeding the birds. Right now, I'm feeding the birds a lot because it's really cold, but feeding the birds that come around and are here only in the spring. And so looking for those that are coming back, and looking and knowing that feeding the birds in the spring, the ones that I'm feeding then are probably feeding their baby birds as well. And so that's always really fun. And then I'm looking forward to just being warm, being able to go outside and not freezing to death every time I walk outside. So those are the three things that, and there's, lots more, but those are the three things that I do just really miss this time of year, and I'm looking forward to that. And so it's just that hope and that promise, and knowing that I can have those things to look forward to. So once you have those things written down, then to have, you can put the things that you have written down, you can put them anywhere. You can put them on your altar, you can put them in your a notebook, you can, write them on a note on your phone, however you want to keep those things. And so I'm going to just fold mine up and put it on my moon altar this weekend. But then with your picture or your item, then you do want to put this somewhere that you can see it, somewhere that you're going to be able to see it over the next weeks until we go into the spring equinox. So whatever it is, find a special place. It could be, somewhere on your desk. You could carry it with you. It could be something that you put as a wallpaper on your phone or your computer or something like that. But whatever it is, and this one I'm going to put on my moon altar so that it's there with my other items with the moon on Sunday. And so it's going to all stay there. So then we want to just say thank you to specifically Mother Nature for bringing us this time and bringing us this time in space and this time of year and this liminal space that we can use to honor ourselves and to honor nature and to honor the earth and to honor the goddess, and specifically the goddess Bridget, who is the goddess that we honor at this time, specifically in this time as the goddess of the hearth and the home and the fire, and this time of washing away the things that need to be washed away and sweeping away the things that need to be swept away. So we can honor any of those, the earth, yourself, Bridget, anybody, anything that you want to honor with this candle and with this offering. So then I'm going to put my candle over here beside me where it can burn out as I celebrate this very special Imbolc time. So happy everything. Happy Imbolc time to you, and a happy, hope you enjoy the full moon that is coming up very soon. And I will have all of these things posted for you so that you can do your own reflection for this time and you can do your own personal ritual. So I hope that you have a good weekend and a good rest of the day, and wherever you are, stay warm, and I will see you again soon. Bye.